I have a personnel question.
You okay?
I'm not sure how to ask this question. But I guess what I want to know, what I'm interested in, is over the next 5 years or so, if teachers who are presently teaching remain in the district, and then look, are we going to start having a meaningful number of teachers who are going to be eligible for retirement in the next 5 years or so?
Can you describe the parameters of meeting? What have you got?
20%.
I don't think 20%. We did a buyout 2 years ago.
Do we have figures on we have any kind of graph that shows our teachers based on years of service, whether we have more teachers that have 10 to 15 years? Or
We can get that information for you.
yeah.
I can certainly get that done. I will send to you in the next couple of days.
Great, thank you.
Questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Open enrollment.
Yes.
A couple of questions and comments. Last meeting and the meeting before, I was laughed at because I asked if you had an open enrollment policy here at Little Miami, and I got laughter from that.
I didn't laugh at you.
I didn't say you did, I got laughter. Out of all sincerity, I was serious with that question. You're a school of excellence, and why not market that school of excellence? All I heard is doomsday, this is the end of the world for Little Miami. You've got excellent teachers, you're still a school, you said it yourself, you know, you're down to the bare minimums, but you're still a school of excellence. And if people are taking their children out of the school district and you're losing $5,000 per student plus, has there been any type of marketing or outreach to those families who are taking their children out of the school district? As to why do those families who may vote for the levy but take their kid out of the school district understand they're taking money away from the school district?
The only things, the efforts that I've been doing is sitting down individually with families. We cut our marketing, our whole marketing piece that we ever had, 2008, and we cut everything that we had to save teachers. I mean, so all I've been doing, and I can vouch for some of our other staff, is I sit down in the summer and I see some of the parents with me, and I sit down with the families and they ask me, why should I stay? I try to tell them all. I mean, that's about all I can do. But I would certainly try to go after some marketing efforts.
I think sometimes there's some type of hype build up that when the school district is in financial difficulties, all of a sudden they're no good. And everybody else starts looking at all the surrounding school districts and thinking, oh, I got to get my kid out of here, they're going to be good school. There's more to educating a child than the money in the school. And I think at this time, I sense a lot of on edge. Communities on edge.
They are.
I taught for 30 years. So I taught high school mathematics and economics for 30 years, so I'm very, very familiar with the teaching situations. I think at this time, not only does the school, but also the families of the students need to support one another, and families need to know that if there's going to be 30 in a classroom instead of 25, or the magic number 21, whatever it might be, the kids got to come to school and be prepared and do their very best. There's educational opportunities beyond the school. If the community is concerned that your child is not getting what you think they need in the school, families need to step in and take advantage of all the educational possibilities beyond the school district's walls until the problem's solved. And I don't see this problem. This problem didn't come about because people are against the school district. I really believe that. I think the problem came about not only because of state funding, but also of the economics. When you've got almost 8.5% of unemployment just in Hamilton Township, and people don't know what federal taxes are going to be next year, and if you're sitting at home with 3 kids and an unemployed spouse, it's very difficult to vote for a school levy. and I understand those situations. I don't think this levy failed because it's against the school district. I really don't believe that.
I would agree with that.
I think it failed because of economic times and circumstances and hardships for a lot of families. I think there's a lot of families that probably had to vote no and hated doing it. And I think sometimes 7 times. If you really take a look at some of the statistics and what's happening around Hamilton Township in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, I have a concern for that. But I think at this time, going back to your open enrollment, what do you have to lose if you don't go? Why don't you go for open enrollment?
Yeah, I think that I understand that you'd like to look at some of those options, and we can look at that as a board. But I first think that we take into account that if we're going to be required to cut, let's say 15 to 25 more teaching staff, and we're going to have to reduce the number of buildings that we have, then I think open enrollment is probably not a very good option, because I'm going to house what I have left, but that's going to be down to 3,800 or whatever we're going to plan on. Or, but I'm not trying to, that's been our issue the whole time in terms of dealing with open enrollment, has been we want to try to serve our kids here. And once we get our kids served, we were able to expand into our new buildings, and so forth. But we can look at marketing, and we can look at more policy that will allow for open enrollment.
You don't have anything to lose if you
do.
Go ahead with if you go ahead with open enrollment. I mean, if you had a policy that yes, we do have an open enrollment policy, but you don't have to accept students.
Okay.
But the option is there in case it becomes a positive for you, right? If you had an open enrollment.
I don't have any policy yet. You're asking that.
Right, but if you did, it keeps the door open. Is that right?
Yeah. I can look at that. Are there any other questions for me?
I am the state budget director as representative on this panel, and I want to speak to you a little bit from my perspective. I'm a budget analyst at the state. I work under both governor's staff and the governor's strict. I do not have a political agenda. My job is to present facts to my boss and the governor so they can make the best decisions possible. And I want to discuss some facts with you from my perspective as well. Ohio is a local controlled state, meaning we allow our smaller subunits of government, whether those be universities, school districts, townships, or counties, to do pretty much whatever they please. We do not control those local governments directly like some states do. In Hawaii, the state government controls every single school district directly from the state capital. We don't do that. Therefore, there is a lot of responsibility placed upon individual districts to make their own decisions and find their own way out of situations and find their own best way to educate their children. That also means you have to find your way to pull yourself out of this situation. The state does not have a silver bullet. The state of Ohio is practically broke. We are going to be seeing absolutely catastrophic cuts to the services you're used to as Ohioans in the next 2 years. Everything. We just don't have the money, and the state cannot just start writing checks. Unlike the federal government, we can't print money, and we cannot raise retirement funds. And I know that that's difficult, but you have a district you should be very, very proud of. I live in a district, Columbus City Schools, where I pay much higher property taxes than you do for a district that can't graduate almost half of its students. You pay